Hello, everyone. I'm Mel Robertson, and I'd like to welcome you to the Dare to Dream Bigger Summit, where you're learning how to harness the power of creation, get clear about your desires, and bring your biggest dream into reality. I'm so excited to share with you the expert I have in store for you today. Her name is Lisa Barnett, and I chose her because she can help us to access our Akashic records so we can manifest the life we've been waiting to live. If you've ever found yourself stuck in a cycle of seemingly unnecessary and unwarranted suffering, whether financial, spiritual, physical, social, or emotional, you might just need to have some karma cleared or release your blocked energy. According to Lisa Barnett, this is often the most effectively done by accessing your soul's own library, the Akashic Record. An internationally respected Akashic Record master, guide, and transformational teacher, and founder of the Akashic Knowing School of Wisdom, Lisa has more than 20 years' experience doing just that for her clients, along with teaching countless students around the world how to access their own Akashic records using a dynamic and powerful shortcut to the Akashic field. Lisa helps her clients and students to heal their emotional scars, clear soul contracts, and walk their own true soul path. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the summit.
Hi, Mel. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to kind of, work with you and with the group a little. Maybe we can bring through some maybe even healing, clearing energies for the listeners and help expand their little souls a little bigger so that they can create, so we can all create what our hearts desire. So beautiful. I'm really excited to be here and share this with you.
And I'm really excited to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. Before we begin, would you want to share anything about yourself with the audience and how you got started in your work with the Akashic Records?
Yes, absolutely. My little abridged story is that I'm one of those people, and I bump into people like me every once in a while because what happened to us is that when we were very little, when we were 2, 3, 4 years old, we were very aware of not being in a body. So my first memory was of looking at my hands and thinking, oh my God, I'm trapped in a body, and telling my mother, I want to go back, I want to go home, I don't really want to do this. So I have to say, it's kind of an interesting soul path, because what that meant was, even though I was very aware, and it gave me a huge leg up because I was growing up in California in the 60s and 70s. There was a lot of information. There was a lot going on out here. And there was actually a lot of validation. I was very blessed. I don't know if I would be who I am today if I didn't have, things like Journeys Out of the Body by Robert Monroe to read, or Baba Ram Das, Be Here Now, or Carlos Castaneda, or all of the Eastern religions were coming to the West at that time, with the Beatles, remember, and transcendental meditation. So it was a good time. It was an exciting time, but it was really confusing, I think, when you have that memory of not being embodied. So validating, confusing, a little frustrating, like, I'm trapped here in this little tiny body instead of being this big, expansive soul, So I really probably spent the rest of my life fighting being embodied on one hand, not ever being very happy about being human, and, on the other hand, reading and studying and doing until I finally, eventually, I really started to study energy work and healing, and became a intuitive psychic, and then I'd hear this very big voice. Every once in a while I get this really big kind of voice with the information for my client that was so expansive. It was so big. It was always like, wow, that's amazing. What is that? Instead of my kind of smaller world of my intuitive readings and healings and such. So what I realized about 5 years after these beings started to talk to me as I realized that I was talking to the Akashic beings of light. And I learned that there was a simple way to access the Akashic record at will. I was really using kind of the vibration of a high vibrational client and my higher vibration matching to be able to boost us into the Akashic records. But I didn't have any I didn't know how to consciously get there.
Right.
So so that was the real blessing and gift for me, was to eventually realize that there were vibrational keys that you could use or create a sacred prayer to shift into this information. And we can actually access our own personal Akashic records for daily guidance to help us to really create what our souls came to create in this world, in this human realm.
I love that. So how easy is it for us to access the Akashic records?
I'm going to say it's really pretty easy. That's my experience of it. And I have taught, thousands of people now around the world, because I do telesummits all the time, and I teach people very often also on the phone. I have I'm in California, but I have lots of students and clients in places like Australia or the UK or, Europe, Canada, the whole, East Coast, all of the United States, etc. So it seems to work very easily. And when you have a vibrational key, which I call a sacred prayer, it is kind of an energetic shift. It's imagine just having the keys to the library. Mm-hmm. And so you literally can just go to those big doors and you insert the key and you open the doors and you step in. And you're really there. You feel the energy shift. And there are beings of light that keep our personal Akashic records for us. And so I should probably go backwards and just even talk a little bit about what the Akashic records are.
You took my next question out of my mouth. I was like, we might want to go back just for a moment and just define and talk about what the Akashic records actually are for anybody that hasn't really heard of them or isn't really sure what they are and how they work.
Yes, absolutely, because I know I often will just kind of go charging off and start talking about stuff, and then I think, oh, wait. Not everyone has even heard of the Akashic records. And actually what I'd like to say about the why people haven't heard about the Akashic records is one of the reasons is that the energy, the vibration of the Akashic field was pulled away from Earth about 1,000 years ago. So it's really interesting. What happened was for thousands of years, people had access to their personal Akashic wisdom, the record, which is your Akashic record, the Akashic field, the Akashic library. People use these different kind of terms. But each person has their very own library, which is the recording of everything you have ever been or done, ever.
In your entire existence.
Beyond
this body.
Yes. Yes.
From before the Big Bang.
Right. So it is not just here on Earth. It takes into account all places and planes. Many of us are into being more galactic beings, and many of us would say, "Oh, I'm from the dog star Sirius, or the Pleiades, or Arcturus, or outside of the Orion's belt, through the Orion Gate." Whatever. Those are all written actually about in the Akashic records.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's really kind of cool and exciting to to be able to go into our own personal records. So kind of, again, if you're going back, and one of the great images of the Akashic Records is of a library. So if you imagine you go into your own personal library, and there's hundreds or thousands, really, thousands of books, each book representing a lifetime. And what the beings of light say is that most people live at least somewhere between 600 and 800 lives here on Earth alone.
I bet.
So that's a not so small library. If you've got 800 books, that's not nothing, right? And
that's just your Earth library.
That's just your Earth library, right? So you've got your room on Earth, you've got your room about, this planet, that planet. All of those, whatever, hundreds or thousands of lifetimes you spent in the angelic realm, or maybe some lives in the elemental realm. Many of us have also, been Earth guardians. And so all of this is really, really written about, and we have our very own personal librarians. And to me, that's kind of one of the exciting pieces.
Having my own librarian, absolutely.
Yeah. It's very useful, I have to say.
Could you please find me?
Well, part of the thing, right, when you go in to your library in the beginning and you start to ask questions. So the way I teach people to access the Akashic Records is I teach them a sacred prayer, or I have actually now been given about 6 sacred prayers. So they actually resonate with different kind of planets, planes, and dimensions. So there's one that resonates more with the Pleiadians. There's one that resonates a little more with the Arcturians or with the Sirians, or, so it's really interesting. It makes it easier, is what I see, for more people to easily access the records. And then you have your librarians, you have your beings of light that are waiting there to help you. They're just hanging out, waiting to help you, which is pretty phenomenal if you imagine. Many of us have guides or angels that we work with, or, different realms, even ascended masters, and they really are always kind of there waiting to assist us. And it's important to remember that we do need to ask for their assistance. But the Akashic beings of light are literally yours, unlike Archangel Michael, who I love dearly and use all the time, but he, is available to everybody.
Exactly.
Whereas your Akashic beings of light, your personal librarians, are really just there for you. They're just hanging out. So imagine when you're not accessing your records, how bored they are.
Right, I was just thinking the same thing, like, God, I got to give him something to do.
Yeah, and the thing that's super cool is that sometimes when I open someone's records for the first time, it's like hallelujah, the bugles are blowing. There is a humongous party going on in their library because their beings of light have been really trying to get hold of them, to get their attention, to do something specific.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of how it was for me. I always say my beings of light yelled at me for about 5 years before I figured out who the heck was yelling at me. And now I know they're there. They just yell at me all the time. So now I say that lovingly and jokingly, because the truth is that they are pure divine source energy. They are pure love. So there is no judgment, no anger, no time and space. So they don't care.
Right.
But very often as souls, we have come to do something. And, for me, of course, I have come to bring the Akashic Records back to the earth, back to humanity. That was what they were yelling at me for so many years. You come to help bring this back to the earth. So, of course, Akashic Records, Akashic Beings of Light, mine are a little pushier than the average ones, I have to say.
You must have some stubbornness in you.
Oh, that too. Good catch. That is it too. Very. Yeah. So, the very cool thing is that they're there. that they really want to communicate with us. One of the things I know is that we do not have to be psychic or clairvoyant or clairaudient. We don't have to have tons of years of training. We don't have to be something else. Like, you don't have to be a Reiki master. You don't have to be able to do whatever, thing that you might think you have to do or be. That it's not true. I've had many, many, many students who are just very spiritual, really, desiring to be on a spiritual path, desiring to be of service to humanity, to grow there, to really be helpful in some ways, who have come and taken my Akashic Record class and have really gotten the information in a big way where it's completely changed their lives, transformed their lives in beautiful and phenomenal ways.
I love that. I love anything that transforms people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
So how can accessing the Akashic Records help us do what we're talking about in the summit, get clear about what we want, harness the power of creation, and bring our biggest dream into reality? Like, how does that help us do that?
Well, again, if you imagine you have that whole library, you've got this whole library to research, which is who the heck am I really? And this is what is my soul lineage? Now, we talk about ancestral lineage, of course. We have an ancestral lineage. We have our family. I can say, my mother came from Sweden, and my father's family was more European, and those are more my physical ancestry. But what else? What's my soul's ancestry? What has my soul been doing? Where has my soul been traveling? What is my soul's, kind of big desire throughout all time and space? Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating because what we can start to see is lifetimes that string together that have to do with our soul purpose, really what we've come to do in this lifetime. Mm-hmm. And when we can get clear on that, so what I say for a lot of people when I do Akashic Record consultations for them, because of course a lot of people just want to know, they just want to have an hour, consultation or have a couple consultations and find out all of these things, what's blocking me, what did I come to do, what can I, what are my next steps? We can look at all of this information that's written in your Akashic Record. What past lives, what places and times have blocked you? Where have you lost your voice? Where have you become, where and when have you become afraid to speak your truth because you've gotten killed for it a bunch of times? Mm-hmm. Or where have you been that very profound hands-on healer? Or where have you been the mother goddess, teacher guide? What lifetimes have you been that oracle? Or the philosopher, or the prophet? These are all pieces of our soul lineage for most of us as light workers and who are here to hold a bigger light for the world. Mm-hmm. So we can see really specific lifetimes, and we can ask for more information about what's blocking us, what are we afraid of, what can we reclaim, what can we reconnect to, what wisdom is written in those records. Mm-hmm. And what I always say is that when we see who we truly are, when we realize that we have been all of these amazing things throughout history on this planet and other planets, when you can remember that you were possibly that oracle in a goddess temple, or maybe you were a doctor in the 1400s, a midwife, and that you used and grew herbs to treat and healed your village. And it's so validating when we can see that, oh my heavens, I've been that.
Mhm.
You know, it's not so crazy to think that maybe I want to go study, you know, herbology, or, oh my heavens, that's why I grow all of these herbs and make these tinctures, or why I'm so connected to, say, the crystals and the earth, because we've been these ancient, you know, earth guardians. Some of us, and myself included in this story, I started coming to planet Earth back when Earth was a frozen tundra, kind of between human lives, between times when humans were on the planet. And so we would come as whales, which I always get quite a kick out of, because the image I see when I'm in the records is of this really kind of frozen but beautiful, crystal, pristine earth. And coming, the dolphins and the whales and the Egyptians both come from the dog star Sirius. So it's Sirius A and Sirius B. There's two bodies, two energetic bodies or planets. I don't think they're really planets, though. So the whales came from Sirius, and as well as the Egyptians. But many of us really made commitments and promises to this dear sentient being, to this Earth, to protect her, to help her, for her to raise her vibration. So there's so many people on the planet right now who have come literally as Earth guardians to help raise the vibration of the planet, because she's trying to become enlightened herself as a really conscious being, so that we, the humans on the planet, can also become enlightened along with her.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's a big process that we're undergoing now, and so many, you know, thousands or millions have come to be part of this this shifting of consciousness, this raising of vibrations. And so what I would say is that when we remember who we are in this really big way, I would say that no dream seems so big.
Right. And I think one huge thing that shifts for people and I know it did for me, when I realized how vast I really am, I was no longer afraid to experience the physical death in this body anymore. My fear of death just vanished.
Yeah. Yes.
And that is what freed me the most, is being free of the fear of dying in a physical body. Like, I'm not afraid of it.
Yes.
You know, that's a huge piece that comes from really expanding into that and accepting that and understanding that, and that's so freeing.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. Absolutely. And that's what I find very often when I work with clients in the records, is that it's really important and kind of phenomenally instantaneous to go back, because of course we can move outside of time and space, to go back into all these past lives where we got killed or tortured or whatever for speaking our truth, for being the healers, for being, you know, the psychics, the intuitives, the witches, whatever. And we can literally clear and release that stuck energy that keeps us afraid that that's going to happen to us again.
Right.
And then we can easily remember and realize, you know, heck, I'm alive now, aren't I? You know?
Yeah.
So that might have hurt a little bit, but, you know, it was kind of brief in the scheme of things, if you imagine, you know, that you're infinite.
Right, exactly. Like, the blip is a blip. I mean, it's a blip you can't even register.
Right. So you're like, okay, that really, granted, that was not a lot of fun, you know, but still the truth is that I'm alive. I'm infinite. And so that's not going to happen again. And as we start to shift our whole view of reality, it becomes so much easier to step into really our own power, to become empowered to create our soul's desire, to be the creator beings that we are, because we absolutely, truly are all. There's not a one of you who is not a creator being.
Absolutely.
We all have that ability and power, and it's just phenomenal. And here's one of the interesting pieces that the Akashic beings of light are reminding me to say, is that when we come more fully into our physical bodies, when we can get really grounded and down into our bodies all the way down to the tips of our toes. I often do really a lot of grounding with clients and teach this in my classes, because what we're doing is, of course, we think of our third chakra as a power center, but there is also something that I call the wish-fulfilling jewel. And the wish-fulfilling jewel is where the fourth chakra, our heart center, and our third chakra, our power center, cross, and it makes that kind of oval almond shape.
Mm-hmm.
And from this place, from really deeply in our bodies, from our hearts and our souls and our creative centers, I really consider our third chakra much more creative than power, we can expand out into the world and really very easily create what we've come to do and to create what we really desire in our lives. So being embodied, it took me lots and lots of years, and I so speak, of course, from from experience, because, of course, this little 3-year-old who looked at my hands and thought, it's like, holy moly, really, I'm trapped, you know. I probably spent 30 or 40 years not too excited about this, you know.
Right.
So,
I didn't have the same experience of looking at my hands and being like, oh, crap, but I've had that feeling throughout my life, like, oh, I'm in this body, I feel stuck, like, how do I get out of it? It feels like, how do I reconcile being this huge soul, this huge infinite being in this tiny little body? Hard to get it all in there. I'm like, how do I reconcile this?
Well, and this is, you know, to me, this is my answer of reconciling it, because when you move into your Akashic records, this is the infinite memory of your soul. So it works in these multidimensional ways, because the Akashic records is the information arm of Source. So this energy is literally in divine source vibration. It is the highest vibration, I believe, available, period, really. So we are shifting into this high, high vibration, which pulls us out of this little muck and mire belief that we're just this little body. And we can expand and remember the hundreds or thousands of different lifetimes in which we were something different than this. We can literally reclaim and remember a lot of information and wisdom that's very useful for us now. And then we have these librarians who are there supporting us and talking to us and helping us along the way. And so all of these pieces remind us that we're not this. So hanging out in that vibration every day has been, for me, absolutely, completely transformational, life-changing. And I'll tell a little story about this, because it can be profound and amazing when you really access this energy and this wisdom and use it all the time. What happened, kind of one of my stories, is that the Akashic Masters, again, yell at me a lot. So they had told me years and years ago that I was supposed to write a bunch of books. Okay, so I had written one book about 4 years ago, and I wasn't quite getting it done. So I joined a transformational author contest to push myself to get it done. I'm good with a deadline. So I joined this contest so that I have a good deadline, and the deadline is nearing to put the book proposal into the contest, and someone says, oh, how many books can we put into the contest? And we're told 2. And I'm like, 2? Oh, okay. And the Akashic Masters say to me, write the other book. And I'm like, okay, how, because, of course, I'm always standing there with my hands on my hips, like, show me. Okay, I'm happy
Right.
to go along. Tell me how. And they literally told me step by step, which only had about 2 steps, which were pretty easy. Do this and call this person to help you write it. I did. The person said, you know, I was just thinking yesterday it would be really good to do some kind of, you know, project like that. Anyway, it came together in 6 weeks. We got that book proposal in, sent them both off, you know, 3 months later. I'm riding home from the airport on a bus, and people start texting me, congratulations, congratulations. I'm like, congratulations, what? They're like, you won the contest.
Oh, that's awesome.
I won an agent who got me a publisher.
Oh, wow.
And this is my book that'll come out in March, The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records. So, you know, when you're on your path, when you're talking to your librarians, your Akashic record beings of light, I also call them masters, teachers, beings of light, when you are listening to them and really on your path, on your purpose, they make things happen. They help you create. And to make things happen, I never in my wildest dreams foresaw any of that happening. I just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And they are there supporting me energetically, vibrationally, making things happen because that's what they said. I'm supposed to get the Akashic Record work out into the world. I'm like, okay, make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I just want to reiterate, there's been 2 themes that have gone on throughout this summit, and the 2 themes that keep coming up throughout the experts that I've talked to is, 1, we just need to show up for whatever it is, for Source to move through us, and 2, the only thing that we need to do is just ask. It's really simple, and we just forget how simple it is, but those are the themes that have been coming up throughout the summit, so I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And that really is, you know, to me, by, of course, I love to teach people to access the Akashic Records because by being able to open your own records every day, it's like any other practice. I say it's very simple, everyone can do it, but like anything that's worth having, it takes some practice. And so Absolutely. It's something that we practice and do, just like yoga. Every day we get a little, you know, a little deeper, a little calmer, a little clearer. Whatever it is, you know, if we're channeling or, if we're doing Reiki, whatever it is we do, of course it takes some practice. So we open our records and we talk to our beings of light and we say, how can I be of service to myself today? How can I be of service to my community, to my family, to my clients? What is it, you know, in my highest and best good for me to do today? And that can be a very simple practice, literally, to keep going forward, to keep getting information, to get baby step after baby step on how to grow whatever it is that you want to grow. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to grow your business and have more clients, or if you want to help the earth, or, even those kinds of things. The Earth Guardians do everything from doing gridding for the earth, say, working with the ley lines, to, recycling. It can be something big. It can be something what we would consider maybe a little bit more normal. A lot of the light workers I know right now are helping to bring technology to third world countries that are really trying to shift the balance so it's more a little bit more equal. And, whatever it is that you're called to do, you'll be supported by your Akashic beings of light.
I love that. Wow, Lisa, this has been such an amazing interview. Thank you so much for all this great content.
My pleasure. Of course, because I'm always just kind of channeling the Akashic Masters, I could just go on for hours. But thank you for allowing me to babble and share all of this information.
Now, I understand that you have a free gift that you're going to talk about for everyone to take advantage of.
I am, and I kind of prefaced it already because I was talking about our wish-fulfilling jewel that's right there where our third and fourth chakras cross. And the gift that I'm giving is what I call your soul signature symbol meditation. And in this meditation, it is doing exactly this with you, where we bring ourselves into this space of being in the wish-fulfilling jewel, creating a symbol that and it's not something that you have to work at. It's just the symbol of our soul shows up for us, and we expand it out around the world, out into the galaxy, so that we can find and connect to all the people that are here in this world, or maybe not even in this world. They may be from other planes and dimensions that are also here and wishing to support us, but they can see us, they can find us, because what we're doing is we're taking our clear desires and we're expanding them out with great intention to create this connection to those who can support us in our desires, in creating our really, biggest dreams and turning them into a reality. And so it's a really fun meditation. I have clients who say that they do it every day in order to connect to new clients, like people who are coaches or who have clients for in their business, and so whether it's something like that, or you're looking to meet your soul family, meet some new friends, create a new community, you can put that intention into the meditation, and you'll see in this meditation I really talk a little bit about that. Whatever you're desiring, whether it's that primary relationship that you haven't found yet, or a community to support you that you can support, or, growing your business, whatever it is for you. For me it was finding a publisher, which came, by way of an agent. So whatever it might be for you, literally you can put that great desire and intention into this meditation and then do this meditation. And so that is my gift to the listeners today.
Thanks so much for that. I can't wait to listen to that myself, actually. So I appreciate that. Well, our time is just about up, but before we close, do you have any last words you'd like to share with our audience?
I have to say, it's kind of fun to channel the Akashic Masters, because they always have something to say. So what they are saying is, go with your greatness. You are all divine beings of light with powerful desires, gifts, and abilities. Go with your greatness and be what you have come to create.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. My pleasure. It feels so big. It just feels so lovely. I just love them because they're just so profound. They see the truth of who we are as these little bodies, as these great, wise souls.
And they're all excited, waiting for us to realize it, too. Go with your greatness. I love that. Those are great parting words. Thank you so much, Lisa.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mel, for having me on. And thank you, everyone, for listening and being the great beings that you've come to be.
Thank you.